Hey guys, Mike here with the watch list video for Friday, April 5th. Unbelievable. So we always start off with the daily on the SPY. That is, you go back and look. Go back and look at all the candles, all the days. That is a nasty day, right? That is a nasty day. What was the high? 523.87 and the low 512. So it dropped over 10 bucks in a day. That's a lot for the SPY. Let me slide this over real quick. Pause the video and read that if you haven't. I would venture that most of you had. We're day traders, what it boils down to. So hat tip to a couple, well, I want to say there were several decent calls in the room today, but I'm going to start off with one that wasn't huge, and I didn't get this, and Levi ended up, with the rest of the market getting slapped. But I called the inside fives right there, right? Let me try to zoom in. I really don't want to make a long video. I've had a busy afternoon. I just called the inside fives. I pointed out as this candle was forming, I said this might give our inside five setup, which we trade on gappers, which would have been over this red candle here, 21.92, and pretty quickly went to what, 22.39, and then slowly rolled over with the market. Could have been a decent first trade of the day. Again, I didn't get it. But the big calls on the day, DXYZ, which I've never heard of. And I think I pointed out the volume, and there's the daily on it, right? So it's only been trading 6-7 days. I'm not even sure it's not some sort of index or something. Destiny Tech 100. So, but Kevin P in chat, notice on the first day it traded, it topped out. You can see the numbers up here as I hover over the candle. Topped out at exactly 32. Let's go to 5-minute candles. And I might have a screenshot because I thought it was such a good post. So right here, this is the opening candle of the day. Right here, it tops out at 31.99 and flags. Kevin P called it through 32. Let me see if I can find it. In typical, there it is. I took a screenshot from chat. In typical Kevin P fashion, he doesn't only call it, but he also explains, hey, 32 is also the high from March 26th. And so he's calling the intraday break of 32, knowing it's also a catalyst on the daily chart. Look at the 32 break. It goes to 40. It goes up $8 on the risk was like, I want to say 65 cents or something. It was. It didn't stop out. It was just an amazing call. And what else did he give us? He also found CZOO, which popped here. Topped out at 14.35, came down and hit that number 14 several times. So his idea was back through 14. Whole number inflection point break, plus you got the earlier high above. So the break happened right here, and it goes to 16.72 without stopping out. So two amazing long calls on a day where mostly shorts worked, right? So he's such an asset to the room. Kevin, hat tip, man. You're awesome. All right, so let's go into what we're watching for tomorrow. Friday, CADL. I call this the strongest stock in the whole wide world, which it absolutely was. And as I'm talking to you, it's trading at 10.39 in after hours. It went up to 11.37 so far. Typically, when you have shorts in trouble and you get near the end of the day, it's not uncommon if you can hang out in after hours. And I had a thing today at 4 p.m., so I was gone. But typically, when something is this strong, especially in a weak tape, probably want to keep your eyes on it in after hours. Matter of fact, we'll bring that up here. So it went sideways for a little bit, right? There's the high of day. You could have Tokyo'd this or just taken it through the high of day, and it just absolutely squeezed. And what this is, in my opinion, is all the shorts that were piling into this and kept failing and think, well, maybe I'll cover in after hours. Well, then in after hours, liquidity drops, right? Dries up, and so then they're really in trouble if they haven't covered, and then they have to cover at much uglier prices for them. But anyway, having said all that, we're certainly going to keep this one on watch after what it did today. MNMD, I'm not in love with this one, but it broke out yesterday and pulled back really about to the breakout level, maybe a little lower today on much lower volume, and you could maybe attribute that to how weak the market was. So I am going to keep it on watch, certainly not in love with it. I do like this CZOO, that it topped out back here on March 28th at exactly 20 bucks. And so, over that could really squeeze. So the chart really looks good, especially when you consider how weak the market was today. MGNX, also another relative strength mover. HYMC. Gold plays. I don't know. We'll see what gold does tomorrow. This is a gold stock. gold miner, and had a big 3-day run. Much lower volume today on a pullback. I like to see a couple days pullback. Sometimes it just takes one and it's back off to the races. So I put that one on watch. STAA, great relative strength today. So that one goes on watch. SPWH, also great relative strength. ABUS, inside day after that big rip yesterday. VVPR had the big pop, then gapped up today, sold, or gapped up yesterday, sold off, and then today put in a really narrow range. So I'm going to treat this like a bounce, but this one could get going the way it's holding up, especially after people start, looking for the next low float mover and all that stuff. So we'll see. CLSK goes back on bounce watch. Bitcoin related, another red day. I like it as a potential bounce play. Just make sure you watch the overall market tomorrow. We'll see what it does. NXL, probably my favorite going into tomorrow. Big rip and then 2 days lower on much lower volume. And again, a weak tape today, so I like it. Lulu, I'll put a line there. Here's the recent, I don't want to say recent, wrong word. Here's the low from October, right? You always look to the left on the chart. I put a line there, and it's basically gotten down there, and it's gotten down there in a hurry. It's almost getting that downside shape. So I think Lulu is a great prospect for a potential bounce play tomorrow. And lastly, not a big list today, MDIA, as I'm talking to you, is trading at 238 in after hours. I'm going to assume there was news. It went all the way to 317. Could have been a pump. We'll see. We'll do some research in the morning if it's still gapping and see if it's worth putting on the gap playlist. I'm done babbling. We'll see you guys in the chat room in the morning. Have a great night.